How's everybody doing? Come on, guys, hit that like button. Let me know where you guys are checking in from. How's everybody doing tonight? All right, let's see what we got so far. All right, Torres Fields, you said you need to call in. All right, well, maybe at the end. Yeah, maybe at the end if we got some time. Byron, what's good? Jordan, Minneapolis, Kelvin Burch, Alexandria, Roy Irvin, Jonathan Cohen. Shout out to all the MGMs. Shout out to the moderators. Torres Field said he needs to call in. Maybe if we have some time at the end. Roy Irving, Costas, how you doing? Brown Goat Logistics. Great Polo, what's going on? How's everybody doing? Shout out to all the moderators, shout out to all the MGM members. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in tonight. Shout out to everybody that watches the replay. All right, so tonight we're gonna do starting a box truck for dummies. Now, don't get offended. I'm not calling anybody a dummy. There is a Wiley brand series of books. Some of you Generation Z guys and millennial guys may not know about books for dummies. You used to see them like on the turnstile back in the day at like Woolworth. For those that you remember, like Woolworth or Walgreens or Goldblatt's. But it's like a series of books. You don't really see them anymore, like in the physical form. But you can buy them online. So I just took a play off that. And if you don't believe me, there you go. You know, a whole series of just different books for dummies. It's just the theme. I'm not calling anybody a dummy. It's just a play off the dummy series. It's like a real easy way to learn something like Cliff Notes, for instance, back in the day for some of you guys that remember the dummy series and Cliff Notes from back in the day. So, all right, I'm not calling anybody a dummy. Just marketing. Don't get offended. All right. Sober Living with Dwayne. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, DeAndre Smith. What up? Shannon Sotomayor. What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? All right, OTRA, what's going on? All right, so boom. The reason why I'm doing this is because after the live stream from a few days ago, the call-in show, I forget his name, but I did do a call with him who was towards the end and just really didn't have a grasp on business. And when he said, man, I didn't know what LLC was until I forgot. He said, I don't even know I just found out what an LLC was not too long ago. So I said, all right, it's probably time to revisit, starting a box truck business. It looks like this is something I'm gonna have to do once a year because you do have a lot of new subscribers that come in and they don't go back and watch that old content. The algorithm really doesn't promote old content, and sometimes people just don't go digging for stuff. So, all right, so 2024 version of starting a box truck business, but we're going to do start a box truck business for dummies. We're going to break it down really, really simple. All right, so let me get out my trusty. We're going to get straight to it. We're not going to waste no time. We're not going to waste no time with the formalities, you dig? All right, let's move this over here. Let's pull up the big screen, you dig? All right, let's get started. All right, so starting, we want to go black. We want to go black. Oops, let's get rid of this. All right, so starting a box truck. Excuse my handwriting. All right, boom. All right, so the first thing you're going to do, all right, so listen up. This is for everybody that's looking to start, everybody that's in the process of getting started. We're going to break it down in layman's terms. Some things I may give you some examples. I may go a little bit into detail. Some things I may not, but these are the steps. These are the professional steps if you want success. Take notes, come back, rewatch it, whatever you need to do. All right, so all my old school people that's been following the channel for a long time, you already know what the first thing I'm going to say. All right. First thing you need to do when you decide you want to start a box truck business, First thing you got to do is start the research. All right, you got to research. All right, you have to research. All right, you can't just come in because you heard somebody start a box truck business and they're doing okay, or you ran across a YouTuber or somebody on Instagram and they told you that you can start a box truck business with $4,000 or $5,000 and you can make $400,000 or $500,000 a year. That's fine. You know, if you hear that and you want, and it motivates you to start a box truck business, whatever motivates you to start a box truck business, that's fine. But once you decide that you're going to set out to start the business, and this plan can work for a cargo van business too, the first thing you got to do is start to the research process. You need to do this before you do anything. All right. And research. Now, the gentleman the other day asked me, I don't know how to research. How do you research? All right. So I'm going to give you a few tips on research. Right. The first thing you can do for research is go to Google. All right, Google. Google is your friend. Google is your friend. All right. And it's easy to use Google. It's not hard. You just pretty much type in what you want to know. Just ask a question. How do I do this? How do I start a trucking business? How do I get licensed for this type of business in the state of Illinois, in the state of Georgia? Um, uh, 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 what's the difference between um, a 16-foot truck and a 26-foot truck? Obviously, you guys know the answer, but I'm just making some stuff up just to in layman's terms so you guys can understand. So for someone that's looking to get into this business, research, the first thing you want to do is you want to go to Google and you want to start researching the industry that you're in. All right. You want to start researching it from a basic perspective. All right. All right. Because there's a few things that there's a few different lanes with a box truck that you can jump into. And that's going to be the second thing I want you to do. All right, but let's finish with research. The first thing you're going to do, one way you can research is Google. Another way you can research is if you know somebody or you can find somebody that has already been in this business, that's currently in this business, that can coach you, that can mentor you, that can hold your hand throughout the process. Now, if you can find someone that will do that for you pro bono, which is free, then that's great. If you feel like you found someone that you trust that wants a fee, then that's up to you. You know what I'm saying? If you want to go online and search content creators and influencers, that's fine as well. But I must warn you, it's up to you to do your due diligence if you go this route. All right, it's up to you to do your due diligence if you go this route, because you need to make sure that the person that is going to be holding your hand or that you're going to be following online is certified, meaning the information that they're giving you is correct information. It's not information that's going to mislead you. It's not information that's going to misinform you. They're not just creating content just so that they can get views and likes, so that they can get a check from YouTube or a check from Instagram. So it's up to you to do a deep dive analysis on the individual if you decide to follow an individual that you are going to consume content from, because you don't want to get misled. You don't want to be misinformed. I've seen a lot of people follow the wrong people and get fed a bunch of misinformation that has led to that person's demise, because they listened to everything that they said and they spent money with them and the information just was not correct. All right. Now, another way you can do research is hands-on. All right. Hands-on experience. All right. So basically, hands-on experience is getting a job in one of the fields in box trucking. All right. Get out there. It doesn't hurt to get out there and experience it from a firsthand basis. Actually, I think this is the best way to do it. You know, obviously you're going to have to Google, because we're going to cover some things after research, some bullet points after research that is going to require you to spend an extensive amount of time on Google. but nothing beats hands-on experience. All right. So you got to understand that, starting a box truck business, and the more I talk to people, in these call-in shows, the more I really come to the realization that people think, you can just start a business and Monday, and by the following Monday, your business is going to be up and running, and you're going to just have cash flow, you're going to be making money, and everything is going to be great. And it just doesn't work like that. A lot of people I talk to that think that they could start a business one day and then the following week, they're going to just be making money and cash flow is going to be coming in, and they don't even know what cash flow is. When I ask them on the show, man, what's up with your cash flow? Cash flow, what's that? This lets me know a person that hasn't done any research. If I ask a person like the other day or last week, how much do you expect to make from your box truck business? How much do you expect to gross? And you give me a number that's $10,000 away from what you told me it's going to cost you to rent a box truck yearly, which means you haven't done any research to know what an average box trucker in any lane grosses on average. And this is why people fail, because they don't do any research. All right. So that's the first thing you want to start with is research. All right. All right. The next thing you want to do after you do your research, now you have to decide. Decide which lane you want to go in with your box truck. There's a few different options that you could go with a box truck. One is Amazon Relay. All right. All right. So Amazon Relay is, obviously working with Amazon, and you are middle mile, you're running middle mile freight from either facility to facility, or running a route from facility to a multitude of different post offices, and dropping those pallets off at the post office, and then the post office will run that freight that you dropped off there the final mile to the consumer, right? So that's one option you could do. Another option you could do is go OTR. You could be an OTR box trucker, all right? Similar to a semi trucker, you're running over the road. You're getting loads off a load board. You got a dispatcher. However you're getting your loads, you're doing dock to dock. You're picking freight up one location, you're dropping it off at another location. Whether you're doing one pick, one drop, you're doing partials where you're picking up a multitude of stops and doing a multitude of drops on a specific route. It's OTR, over the road, which means you're gone. You're away from home, all right? This is where a lot of people get misconstrued. You are over the road. You're gone. You're away from home, all right? If you want to maximize your earning potential, it's better to stay away longer. The longer you stay away, the better, all right? That's your second option. Your third option is final mile. Once again, excuse my handwriting because I'm kind of on an angle here. All right, let's see if I can just slow it down. Final mile. All right, so now you got two options for final mile. All right, you can go curbside or big and bulky. All right. So the difference between curbside and big and bulky is curbside, you're picking up from a 3PL warehouse, a cross dock, wherever, and you're running the final leg, you're running the final mile, but you're not entering into consumers' homes. All right. So you're not doing any threshold or white glove service. All right. It's pretty much to the doorstep, to the curb, to the garage. All right. It's up to your discretion. It's curbside. So technically, you can leave it at the curb. All right. If you have some type of moral compass and you want to wheel it to the front step, that's fine. If a person has an attached garage or a garage and they say, do you mind dropping it in the garage? That's fine. But you're not lifting anything upstairs. You're not going into the home. You're not crossing any threshold. Now, if you're running curbside and you got a multitude of different stops, and let's say you have some residential and you have some commercial, and you go to a commercial facility that has a dock, Obviously, you want to back into the dock, right? And unload it and leave it on the dock, right? Bring it into the warehouse, see the warehouse manager, and leave it in the dock area, right? You're not lifting anything because you're backing into the dock. That's curbside. Big and bulky is pretty much your furniture and your appliance delivery. All right. This is your furniture and your appliance delivery. All right. A lot of heavy lifting, requires minimum of 2 men. Some routes may require 3 men. A lot of heavy lifting, a lot of stairs, a lot of sweat, a lot of sore muscles, a lot of long days, but it's financially rewarding. Now, both are rewarding financially. You can get a good curbside route local, right? Both of these are local. Like both of these are local. This is local. All right. So hold on, let's do it in a different color. This is local. So both of these are local. All right. You can get a good curbside route that will pay you similar, if not more, than what a guy who's running OTR is making. All right. There's OTR routes curbside routes that can pay you anywhere from 600 to 1,000, sometimes a little over $1,000 a day, depending on your location, depending on the freight company that you're contracted with, depending on your route, depending on your market. All right. Depending on how much you're getting paid per stop. Right. So there are curbside routes in some markets that pay just as much as OTR or more. All right. Big and bulky pays exceptionally well, obviously, because the labor is more intense and it requires an additional man or two. So obviously you're getting paid for 2 men plus a heavier workload. All right. There are some big and bulky routes that can pay, depending on market, anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000 a week, depending on market, depending on the contract, and depending on how many days the contract is running. All right. And then the final thing that you can do with a box truck, and this is my favorite, moving. All right. And the reason why it's my favorite is because it pays the most. All right. And I kind of got these listed in order, and this can be debated on pay scale. I know some Amazon guys are probably going to hit the thumbs down, but that's okay. Listen, it can be debated. There may be some Amazon people that really understand Amazon that may make more money than some guys that are running OTR because they're just not maximizing their earning potential because they're lazy or they don't know how to book loads properly. They don't want to stay out on the road because they want to get back home to Boo Bay because they worried about man. I don't know, but my professional opinion, understanding every single lane, I kind of got them listed. I have them listed in order from least to greatest. All right. Nothing is going to pay more than moving. Nothing. I don't care what you do. All right. Nothing is going to pay more than moving. One is because the difference between moving and all these other things is with this right here, with moving, there's no middleman. There's no middleman. This is a business that you start your moving company, you get licensed, you market your company, you advertise your company, you're dealing directly with the consumer. With Amazon, there's a middleman. Amazon. With OTR, there's multiple people in the middle. You might have a dispatcher, you got broker. All right. Final mile, curbside, big and bulky, 3PL. You got a 3PL in the middle. Here you got broker, dispatcher, if you have a dispatcher. Here you got Amazon. All right. Here you have nobody. You set a price. If you want to charge $100 an hour for 2 men and $150 truck fee, you charging $100 an hour with a 2-hour minimum plus $150 truck fee. If you want to charge 20% markup for materials, you charge 20% markup for materials. If you want to charge a long carry fee, you charge a long carry fee. If you want to charge a stair fee after the second or the third floor, you charge a stair fee after the second or third floor. For 3 guys, if you want to charge $200 an hour, you charge $200 an hour. If you want to charge $300 an hour for a third floor, you charge $300 an hour. There's no middleman. You set your price. So you get one job with moving 26-footer. You get a nice, decent sized 3 or 4 bedroom home. You go in there and you do what you're supposed to do. You wrap everything, you break everything down, you do a professional job. You might be there 10 hours. You charging them $250 an hour, $300 an hour times 10 hours. That's $3,000 right there, plus your truck fees and your material cost. Now you looking at maybe $4,000, depending on what the material cost and the truck fees are. You're looking at 10 hours at $300, $250, let's say $250 an hour. All right, because not everybody is in a big market. They may not be able to charge $300 an hour for 3 guys. Here, 3 guys is going to cost you $300 an hour. Just you're paying $100 an hour per man in this market. So let me use my market: $300 an hour per man, a 10-hour job. A 3-bedroom house can go easily 10 hours, depending on where point A to point B is, and depending on how much stuff they have. All right. If you're a professional, you're not rushing in there to get everything done. You're not taking shortcuts. Shortcuts is not taking the legs off the couch, looking at surveying the house. Okay, they got stuff, but I think we can fit everything in here. We don't got to break that table down. We don't got to break this down. No, a professional mover is going to come down there. They're going to wrap everything and they're going to break everything down. Why? Because this takes more time. It's still the right thing to do, though, but it takes more time. Don't take no shortcuts. You do a professional job. Get in there 10 hours, $300 an hour. That's $3,000 right there. We still haven't added the truck cost. We still haven't added material costs. Now, you got guys that are running Amazon. You got guys that are running OTR that aren't grossing $3,000. They're driving across the country. This is one day. All right. So moving is going to pay you the most money. All right. Now, a lot of people don't want to do moving. Why? Because it's very, very labor intensive. Also, there's more opportunity for claims, right? Because you're dealing with a multitude of goods and you're dealing with property, right? So you're moving things in and out, right? So you have more opportunity to damage things on the move out and the move in, plus damaging property, nicking and dinging walls, scratching floors, going upstairs, bumping and denting ceilings. I've seen situations where people have knocked off gas meters, you know what I'm saying? Carrying stuff in. It happens. It's moving. You know what I'm saying? But that's why you're charging the customer a premium, because this is something the customer could do, but they don't want to do it themselves because they don't want to lift the stuff. All right. So those are your options for a box truck: Amazon Relay, OTR, Final Mile, which you could do curbside, or big and bulky. All right. So those are your options. That's the decision. You have to decide which lane you want to go in. A lot of people get out here and they don't go in this order. They get out here, they hear somebody, then they go get a box truck, and then they say, "Hey, Mark, what should I do?" I don't know. You're supposed to figure that out in step 2, which is we in step 2 now. All right, boom. Let's go to step 3. All right, so step 3 is once you decide, now it's time. We're going to put this in black. Now it's time to create a business. Now it's time to create a business plan. All right. Now it's time to create a business plan. All right. And this is very important. All right. This is very important. This is very, very important. All right. And I'm going to give you what needs to be included in your business plan. I'm going to give you that now. Actually, I did a live stream around this time last year. Sometime around this time last year. uh, yeah, about a year ago. Yeah, a year ago. How to create a box truck business plan, right? So it's in members only, or you can download it from my website. It's not for everybody. You got to either be a member or you got to get it off my website. All right. All right. So here's the outline for your box truck business plan. All right. There's things I've customized your business plan for a box truck business. I've taken things out of a traditional business plan like sales analysis and things like that because this is a service-based industry, so you don't really need to include that. So I've tailored it specifically for a box truck or a cargo van business. All right. So here's the outline that you need when you create your box truck business plan. You need your executive summary, your company overview, your market analysis, which is very, 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 very important. Your customer analysis, also very, very important. A financial plan, very, 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 very important. Risk assessment, very, very, very important. All right. So this is the outline. It's very imperative that you do this. If you skip this step, there's going to be a lot of things you don't know, right? You're going to go out, you're going to buy a vehicle thinking you're going to, you made a decision in step 2 and say, oh, okay, I'm going to do Amazon. You made this decision. Then you come here, and once you get, if you skip this step, then you're not going to know that, hey, I'm a middle American. I live in middle America. There's no Amazon near me. You might have did poor research in the beginning. When you decided that you wanted to do Amazon, you probably didn't follow up and do more research. When you decide, that means now you got to start researching the niche that you want to jump into. This is going to help you research that niche, especially when you get to a market analysis. So let's say you picked Amazon Relay. Once you get down to market analysis, you're going to start surveying the market. The first thing you're going to do is Google nearest Amazon Relay facility. The nearest Amazon may be in 100 miles away because you live in the boondocks somewhere. You may live in nowhere land. Now, if you live in nowhere land, which I've had a multitude of people come to me since I've been on YouTube within the past 2 years that have not did any of these steps, saw somebody online, got excited, went and bought a cargo van, went and bought a box truck, lived in the middle of nowhere. They were middle American. Lived in the middle of nowhere, went and got a box truck thinking they was going to do Amazon or thought they was going to do some type of local curbside or something, and then realized once they got the box truck and then they started to go do the research that there was no Amazon. Now, if this is your case, you decide to do Amazon, you get to your market analysis, you start researching your market, and you realize there's no Amazon, then you can't do Amazon. You can't do curbside because the opportunity isn't there for you. So you may be forced to only go OTR. You may not have the luxury of living within New York City or right outside of New York City or in Los Angeles or right outside Los Angeles or in Houston or right outside Houston or in Atlanta or right outside Atlanta or in Chicago or right outside Chicago. You may live in some town with 10,000 people. So moving is not going to be an option for you because there's just not enough people. Amazon is not going to be an option for you. Why? Because that's why Amazon Relay has people running 150 miles overnight to a small town like yours, dropping packages off at the post office because they don't have a facility in the area to run DSP final mile there. So they got an overnight Amazon Relay guy or gal that's running overnight to all these little small towns, dropping off at all these little middle American nowherevilles post office pallets so that the mail carrier can drop this stuff off to you because they don't have facilities in those small, low density areas. They rely on USPS and UPS for that. So if Amazon is relying on USPS to deliver the final leg or the final mile for those small towns, and you live in one of those small towns, what makes you think that you're going to be able to find something and be successful? So your only option is going to be going OTR. And you may not want to go OTR. This is why you got to go through these steps, because you don't want to be the person who jumps out the window, goes and buys a truck, think you're going to do Amazon, or think you're going to do curbside or something local, and didn't, follow these steps. And now you got the truck, and the only option that you got, that you learning now, the only thing you can do is OTR. You don't want to go OTR because you got a brand new baby, or you just got married, or some shit like that. So when you get down to your market analysis is when you're going to find all this stuff out. You're going to determine what's in your market. What's the median income? What's the mean income? How many people live in my market? Do I live in a big market? Do I live in a small market? Is it a high density market? Is it a low density market? Is there an Amazon in the area? Where is the closest Amazon? How many 3PL facilities are in the area? How far away are they? Let me start calling and see if they have any opportunities. If there are some, if I live in like a, in between type of place, well, let's say the population is 100,000. Let's say it is like a 3PL and they do have some local curbside, let's say, delivery. How many stops are they providing? What's the rate? Because obviously the rate isn't going to be comparable to a rate like a market that has a multitude more people, higher density, a multitude more stops, higher cost of living. So if you're in a smaller market and they're paying a lower rate, but they have an opportunity, is it going to be enough to cover your cost? Because just because they have the opportunity doesn't mean it's going to cover your cost. That's why market analysis is very, 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 very important. I've seen so many people go out and purchase equipment and never get started because they simply didn't do a business plan. All right, customer analysis, similar. Understand your customer. For instance, if you go into moving, if you in decision step, if you decide to go into moving, once you do your market analysis, all right, boom, when you kind of on the border, is this still a good market for moving? Now I got to go into my customer analysis. What's the median? What's the mean income? What's the ratio from homeowners to renters? How often does a person that purchases a home stay in it? How often in my town that a renter, when they rent an apartment, how long do they stay in it? What's the turnover? Obviously, if you're in a big market, New York, Chicago, LA, Houston, there's moves. People are moving all the time, especially in busy moving season. All right. But then you have to focus more on your competitive analysis, right? You want to analyze your competition. All this stuff is important. Obviously, you have to have a financial plan. We're going to cover that in a second. Risk assessment. You want to assess the risk. And by the time you get to risk assessment, you should be able to determine if your risk is big or if it's small, primarily based off the market analysis and the customer analysis and the competitive analysis as well. All right. All right. So that is your business plan. All right. So we covered business plan. Next thing I want to jump into is going to be this is something that, capital. All right. So after you do your research, after you decide which lane you want to go into, after you create your business plan, now it's time to source your capital. Hit the like button. You got to find the money, man. You got to figure out how you're going to fund this thing. All right. And what do I always say? just enough money is not enough money, right? You need working capital. All right. You got to figure out how you're going to fund this thing. All right. What do we know? What do we know already? All right. And here's where a lot of people get messed up at. Banks ain't going to loan you no money. Banks aren't giving you money. They're not going to give you any money. Banks don't give new businesses money whatsoever. You're too risk. It's too much of a risk. Bank ain't going to sit down and talk to you unless you've been in business at least 2 or 3 years. They want to see if you can survive the 1-year curse. They're not going to even talk to you unless you've been in business. Some banks will talk to you after 2 years. Some banks have a minimum 3-year requirement. So banks is out the question. You're not going to get your capital from a traditional bank. Don't even waste your time. All right? Don't even waste your time. All right? Another way people do go, hard money loans have kind of changed. Now, you used to could get a hard money loan after 6 months. A lot of the hard money lenders now want you to be in business 1 year. All right? So you're not going to be able to get a hard money loan from a hard money lender like Cabbage doesn't exist anymore, like your On Deck or like your Credibly, places like that. So, Mark, how do you get capital to start the business? All right. So, one way you can get capital to start your business is you can take out a personal loan. All right. What you could do is you could take out a personal loan. All right. If you have good credit or if you got some type of collateral, I wouldn't listen. And this is up for debate. I've debated somebody on stream before last year. I can't forget. If you own a piece of property, you could take out a mortgage. Listen, I wouldn't take out any equity on my home to start a business. I think that's the dumbest thing a person could do. I'd rather not be a business owner with a roof over my head than be a person who once had a roof over my head that lost it because I had dreams of being a business owner and I lost it because my business failed. All right. I would never do that. I wouldn't recommend anybody do that. All right. If you have good credit and you can get a personal loan, you can get a personal loan. And then what you can do is you can loan that money to the business. All right. That's one way of getting started. If you have credit cards or if you have capital already, you have a lump sum of cash, then you can loan that money to the business as well. If you have credit cards with high credit limits, that's another way. You can borrow money, right, from a family member or a friend. That's another way. What did I say? Credit cards. This would be personal. And that's pretty much it. Or you can work and put money towards the business. All right. So basically work with, starting a business in mind and putting away a percentage of that money from work to, start that business. So if you have a regular job, then you can go out and get a second job. And then that second job, 100% of that money will go towards starting a business. Obviously, because your primary job is going to have to take care of your living, right? And then you go and you get a second job, and 100% of that revenue from that second job will go to investing in the startup of that particular business. Another way that you can start a business is you can grassroot it. And what does that mean? Bootstrap it. Well, what does that mean? Starting from nothing, starting from the bottom, utilizing what you have. If you want to start a cargo van business or a box truck business and you don't have the capital, which, a lot of people that I come across don't. There's opportunities that you can still get into this industry with your personal vehicle, and you can utilize your personal vehicle to do gig work. There are dedicated routes that you can get with a third party logistics company, doing e-commerce work, doing office supply delivery, doing small package delivery, doing pharmaceutical med delivery, and you're getting experience utilizing your personal vehicle. You're learning your area. You're learning how to route yourself. You can kind of gauge how long it's going to take you to get from one stop to another, how long each stop is going to take, all simultaneously while making money in the industry that you want to get in anyway. You just don't have the capital to get in with a cargo van or a truck. So getting in with your personal vehicle allows you to learn the industry and save towards getting that larger vehicle via cargo van or a box truck with minimal startup costs. Why? Because you're utilizing what you already have. All right. And I would advise most people, if you are not fortunate enough to go out and purchase a box truck or a cargo van, this is the way you want to start. I started this way. So many people start this way. I've talked people out of starting up here and, starting down here. And 99.9% of the people that listen to me and change their mindset of in their box truck dreams, and they come down to reality and start down here. Once they get in, they realize, like, man, thank you, Mark, you saved me, because just coming in on this level, I see what it entails, and I see the cost that would be associated if I started up here. A lot of people have box truck dreams and cargo van money. Some people have box truck dreams and don't even have Uber money. So if you got dreams and you don't have the capital, then you have to utilize what you have. You have to come down to reality. It was just like the young gentleman I was talking to last week that want to start with 3 trucks, no bread. You got to come down to reality. You got to get out here in the field yourself and utilize what you have. If you got cargo van money, but you got box truck dreams, maybe you should start with a cargo van. But nothing beats starting at the lowest level and working your way up. Why? Because now your initial cost is very, very, your entry cost is very, very, very minimal. It's very, very, very minimal because you're utilizing what you have. And to be honest, out of all these ways to get the money, I think that's the best way. I can't really tell you about a personal loan because I didn't start like that. I started from the bottom. I started grassrooting in my pickup truck back in 2010 doing jobs off of Craigslist. And I built from there up to a successful moving and trucking company. It's possible. All right. So that's the next step that you got to go through is capital. All right. All right. Boom. So after sourcing capital, now we can get into the fun stuff. All right. Next thing you want to do is structure your business. All right. Now, this is where the guy the other day said, man, Mark, I don't even know what an LLC is or whatever he said. All right. So structuring your business is basically setting your giving your business some type of legal entity, a form of structure, right? So there's a few different ways you can do this. All right. The main way a lot of people do it is they go LLC. Why? Because this is the most promoted on the internet. For whatever reason, I don't know. I don't know if people don't know that there's other ways to structure a business, but the most promoted way to start your business and structure your business online that people see online is LLC, and that's what most people go with. All right. Another option you can go is S corp. All right. This is my favorite. All right. Another option you can go with C corp. You can also go LLP. All right. Most people go this route, LLC. All right. Limited liability. All right. Limited liability corporation. All right. Limited liability company, limited liability corporation, whatever. Now, this is a conversation you need to have with your CPA. And here's why. If you follow the steps that I've given you, research, decision, business plan, capital, you pretty much got an idea where you want to go with this thing. And here's why. If you plan on coming in, starting a business, starting at grassroots, working your way up, and you have plans on scaling this business to a multitude of trucks and a multitude of people, you need to know this. You need to know this going into structuring your business, because you don't want to structure your business. Me personally, I wouldn't structure a business as an LLC if I know I want to have 10 trucks and 20 people. I want to indemnify myself from any and all liability. To me, and we can debate it, I look at an LLC as a glorified sole proprietorship. That's just me personally. I look at it as a glorified sole proprietorship, because that's what it is. But there are situations where an LLC is okay. If you plan on starting your box truck business, you have no plans to scale whatsoever. It's just going to be you and your box truck, and you're fine with that. You don't want to scale at all, then it's okay. If you're going to deal with a multitude of people, then it would be better to S corp it out, in my humble opinion. Make yourself the president. You are a shareholder. You are an employee for the company. You're the highest paid, highest ranking employee for the company. This indemnifies you. It indemnifies you personally. It's harder to pierce the corporate veil of a corporation than it is for an LLC. And these are facts. I've been through it. I've been sued. My company has been sued. There were a multitude of people listed as defendants. Mark wasn't one of them. My company was. The driver of the truck that was driving the truck that was involved in the accident for my company, his personal name was listed as a defendant under my company's name. The other party that was involved in the incident, that individual was listed as a defendant under my employee's name. But Mark personally, even though Mark is the president of the company, we don't say owner. I'm not the owner of anything. I'm the president. It's an S corp. I'm a shareholder. I'm the largest shareholder. It's a corporate. I don't own anything. See, that's where a lot of people get messed up. See, a lot of people want to say they own something. I don't want to own nothing. See, I learned this from an old white guy, my old commercial landlord from my warehouse. He said, Mark, you don't want to own nothing. People get so caught up in owning stuff. Oh, yeah, I own this. I don't own nothing. I'm just a president. I learned something else from my CPA. No, you never want to be the CEO. Always be the president. I'm just an employee. I work for I can get fired just like the next man. Now, to each his own. Me personally, I'm not caught up in owning anything. I don't need my business cards to say CEO/owner. I'm not caught up in that. Why? Because you never know what may happen down the line, especially if you're running a business where you plan on hiring other people. See, you may be a person who is going to come to work, do what you're supposed to do. You're not going to do goofball stuff. You're going to wear your seatbelt. You're not going to be texting and driving. You're not going to be doing dumb stuff. I've had 2 or 3 people since being on YouTube that have had people go through weigh stations and getting caught with marijuana and smoking weed, going through weigh stations, all types of dumb stuff. If you're on the truck, you're going to do what you're supposed to do because it's your company, it's your livelihood. But you also have to keep in mind, if you plan on scaling your business up, you're going to have to rely on other people. You want to make sure that you're indemnified. To me personally, if I know that I'm scaling up and I'm hiring people, I'm not going LLC. I'm not caught up with a title. I want to be protected because let me tell you, God forbid something does happen, they coming. They're going to try to get their hands on everything. Whatever they see assets at that they can come for, they coming for it. If you got a home, they're going to try to get it. So you want to keep that in mind and indemnify yourself as much as possible. All right. Talk to your CPA, right? Give your CPA your plan so that they can advise you which way to go. Don't just fall into the old LLC trap because that's what you see promoted on the internet. LLC is not the only structure of business. Like Costa says, you're an employee. Just like I said earlier, I don't have no problem being an employee for the business. I prefer to be an employee. I make all the decisions. I'm the largest shareholder, but I'd rather be an employee. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I want you to talk to your CPA and give them a play-by-play. I go to my CPA, listen, I'm starting this trucking business. I plan on having 50 trucks in 5 years and 100 drivers. We corping it out. Why would I go LLC? So one of these guys can fall asleep behind the wheel and run somebody over? And then they got dang on what's Ben Crump or whatever his name is taking the case pro bono, and I'm an LLC. Everything I own, they finna try to source every single asset I own personally. They gonna pierce that corporate veil easy. Death, oh man, it's a wrap. Nah, give me the corp. All right, so boom, structure your business. That's the next thing. I don't want to get carried away on that because I can go on and on and on about that. All right, so boom, let's get to the next thing, right? Next thing is going to be licensing, all right? And see, this is where everybody goes first. They decide they want to start a box truck business or a cargo van business, and they go, man, how I get my LLC? I mean my DOT or my MC. This is step number 6 for me. This is step number 6. Licensing. All right. What color we want to do? Let's go back to red. DOT, MC, BOC3, UCR. These are the things that I would want you to go in order getting. Now, you're probably like, why you didn't put the insurance up there? We're going to get to that. Get these things first. All right. Now, these are things you can do by yourself. I wouldn't recommend paying anybody to do this. This is free. This $300. There's a fee with this, and there's a fee with this. All right. Now, you can do all this stuff by yourself. There's people out there that go pay an arm and a leg to have someone do this stuff. And you can do it yourself. Oh, you know what? I forgot one thing. Back on the structure of business, I forgot to talk about how to get your business structured, your LLC, your corporation. You can go to your Secretary of State website, whatever your Secretary of State website is, and file. All right, so what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to show you I'm just gonna give you an example of my. I'm sorry, I should have uh let me see. Every state is gonna be different. All right, so give me 1 second. Let me pull it up for my state. All right, so boom. All right, so I'm gonna go to the Illinois Secretary of State, right? Which is Cyber Drive here. And then I'm going to go to incorporated business or terminate an LLC. So I want to incorporate my business. All right. So I'm going to go to incorporate a corporation. All right. Then they have a part for LLC, obviously down here. All right. I'm going to go corp. Then I'm going to enter the name. All right. I'm going to enter my name. I'm going to be ABC Trucking. INC. I'm going to hit continue. This is stuff you can do on your own. The proposed name must contain one of the following words: company code, corp. I put INC. Hold on. Oh, that's right. I put the period. Boom. I'm pretty sure ABC Trucking INC is right. So ABC Trucking INC is already taken. Hold on. No, it's not. Name availability. ABC Trucking INC. I confirm that I reviewed the above names and still wish to use the name applied. So ABC Trucking is my name, business name. Let's see. All right, so boom, that name is available. Boom. So now I'm gonna go to my registered agent. All right, now you can be your registered agent. My registered agent has always been my CPA. All right, the accounting firm. It's always been my registered agent. My registered agent's office address, city, state, zip code. Now, if you're not paying a CPA or someone, your accountant to register, be a registered agent, obviously then you have to do it yourself, and you just follow the steps. I mean, it's pretty much cut and dry. If you have questions, you can always call. They have a help desk. Well, I think our state has a help desk, or you can call an accountant or your CPA if you do have a CPA and inquire. When you get to the S corp, is going to ask you to put in a certain amount of shares. I noticed that my CPA always just puts 1,000. Whenever I start a company, he just puts 1,000. All right. All right. So let's get back to that. So you would go with you would go to your Secretary of State website to set that up. All right. All right. So boom. Now, oh, and then another thing, you would have to pay for that too. I'm sorry. All right. So depending on the state is going to determine how much. Here it's 150, I believe, or 175, and it takes about 10 to 14 days to get it back. They also have an expedited service where you pay an additional $100, which make it 250 or 275, and you'll get it to your email within 24 hours. Also, when you structure your business, you have to get your tax ID number. I don't know how I forgot that, but let's go back to that now. Your tax ID number. All right. And in order to get your tax ID number, I'm sorry, I skipped that instruction in your business. You're just going to go to irs.gov. Where is it at? Where is it at? I haven't done it in a while. Give me a second. Where is it at? I haven't done this in a while. Hold on. Hold on. Yeah. All right, so boom. All right, so you just go to apply for an EIN number. All right, your employee identification number. You go to this page on irs.gov, and you're just going to hit apply now. They only let you apply through certain times of the day. If they're closed, then they're not going to let you apply. You have to wait for the following day. You just hit begin application. Obviously, here They're going to ask you, what type of business are you? Because you got to structure your business. That's why we talked about structuring your business first. You want to structure your business before you do this. All right. If you're going corporation, obviously you're going to put corporation. If you're going LLC, obviously you're going to check LLC. You're going to follow the steps. This is really, really simple. You just keep following the steps, right, all the way to the end. And then at the end, they're going to give you your EIN number, and then they're going to also email it to you. So you can print it out, and you're going to also get an email. All right. The government form it's going to come on is called an SS4 form. All right. It's going to be an SS4 form, and that's what you're going to have to take to the bank along with your articles of incorporation, or if you're in a different state, articles of organization. And when you go set up your business bank account, the bank is not going to let you set it up unless you have the articles of incorporation, which you'll get when you structure your business with your Secretary of State, when they email it to you, and then your SS4 form, which is your EIN number. All right. So your SS4 form, which is this, what you're going to get once you finish this process, which you will get it right away when you go through all these steps. It's free. You don't have to pay for it. Don't let anyone send you off and tell you, hey, I can structure your business for you for $500. You can do it yourself. It's simple. All right. All right. So boom. Sorry, I forgot. I forgot that step. All right. All right. So let's get back to licensing. All right. So DOT, which is free. MC 300, BOC 3, you start, there's going to be fees. Some people go to different places, so I'm not going to give you the fees. Some people pay $30, some people pay $150. It all depends on where you go. All right. Now, for your DOT, you're going to go to the FMCSA website. I already got it pulled up. You're going to go to the FMCSA website and you're going to apply. Now, they've changed their website a little bit, because this is where you're going to go. You're going to hit apply for a new US DOT number, and they're going to make you log in now. Before, they would give you a few more steps before you log in, like some preliminary stuff, but now you got to log in right away. All right, so basically what you're going to do is you're going to create an account, and you're just going to follow the steps. And then they're going to give you a DOT number. It's pretty much cut and dry. It's cut and dry. All right. I don't think anyone should have a problem with figuring out for themselves. If you can't figure this out, you don't need to start a business. Now, this is just my honest opinion. If you can't figure out simple things like that by following the steps, I just don't think you're going to be successful in running a business. That's just not something I would pay a person $500 to do. Put your corporation, put your tax ID number. Are you going to go cross state lines? Duh. What's your name? What's your address? What's your EIN number? All the questions that they ask you are pretty cut and dry. They're going to give you your DOT number. Then you're going to have to go back into that same system, right? And then you're going to get your MC number, right? They've changed the website up. You used to could like go through this stuff, and they'll give you like some preliminary questions and stuff like that. But they don't. So when you go back now to get your MC number, let me see. You're gonna go back here. Oh, I'm sorry. You're gonna go back here, and now this is for your DOT. Now for your MC, you're gonna go here. Update my US DOT number and or authority. Boom. So I'm gonna open up this page. All right, boom. I think I need to register with the FMCSA to get a new US DOT number, operating authority MC. You're gonna click this. I need additional operating authority. You need your MC number if you plan on crossing state lines. All right. Now, you're going to click that, and then you're going to hit continue. It's going to tell you to log back in. And you're going to follow the steps. And you're going to pay them $300. It's simple. It's not hard. I did it myself many moons ago. You can do it too. It's not hard. You should be able to get your article of incorporation, which is your structure of business, your LLC, your corporation, your EIN number, which is really, really simple, your DOT, your MC by yourself. Stop paying people $500 and $600 and $700 to do something that only going to take them 15, 20 minutes. People ask me all the time, Mark, can you set up my authority? No. But I'll pay you. I don't care. I don't need your money. Don't ask me nothing that's simple. Don't ask me nothing that's Googleable. This stuff is simple. If you are not willing to put the time in to comprehend what it takes for you to get your business up and running, then you don't need to start a business. You should know this stuff. Now, if you become a serial entrepreneur years later where you just got a multitude of businesses and you decide to pay someone to do all this little tedious stuff for you because you just got money and you just want to pay somebody, then fine. But when you're starting your first business, you should go through these processes. You should be well versed on what it takes to start and structure a business. You shouldn't be in a room full of entrepreneurs and a conversation sparks up about structuring and starting a business and setting up an EIN number, and you got a business and you can't follow the conversation. You want to be well versed, well knowledgeable on every aspect pertaining to your business. You starting a new business, this is $400 or $500 or $600, $700 that people be charging for this, that you can put into your cash flow, or you can put into sourcing your vehicle, or you can put towards your down payment for your insurance. Why spend hundreds of dollars on this stuff when it's simple? Do it yourself. So you got the website, FMCSA, right here, fmcsa.gov, right? Right here, FMCSA dot spelled out DOT.gov, all right? You're going to go to registration, apply for new US DOT. You're going to create a login. Then when you come back to do your MC, you're going to go to update my DOT, and you're going to click this first one. You need an operator authority, MC, and this is what you're going to have to pay the $300 for, all right? All right. Now, let's so we covered MC, BOC, MC, DOT. All right, so you're gonna have to get a BOC3. You're not gonna go active until you get a BOC3. You're gonna have to find a third-party agent to get your BOC3 set up. I don't remember the company I went through so many years ago, but you can Google a company to set up your BOC3 just by BOC3. Let's see. A bunch of companies are going to pop up. All right. Do your research on the company. Obviously, you know, you want to shop around. You want to get the best bang for your buck when you are shopping for the processing agent. And you want to ask questions. Make sure that they're going to do the proper filing so that, you know, it goes active. All right. You just don't want to pay for it and they don't do the filing. All right. Make sure they're going to do the filing. They have to do the filing in order for you to go active. All right. UCR. All right. Your UCR registration. All right. Boom. Website. Unified carrier registration. All right. Go to the website. Set it up. You got to have this. All right. So, boom. All right. We got to catch up because I spent some time. All right. So, boom. DOT, MC, BOC. Oh, I didn't even have my screen shared. My bad. Hold on. I didn't have the screen shared. So, let me go back to the UCR. I'm sorry. All right. So, BOC3. I just Googled BOC3. And then you can go through wherever you want, pick one, shop around, find something that's affordable, ask questions, make sure they're going to do the filing. Go to the UCR website, get your UCR, do your UCR registration. Website here, unifiedcarrierregistration.gov. Go through the process, get your UCR, pay the fees. All right. Get those set up, okay? All right. All right, so we got DOT, MC, BOC3, UCR. All right, boom. Now, after you get that set up, now you're probably like, well, man, Mark, what about insurance? I can't go active till I get insurance. We're going to get to that. Now, while you're doing all this, you know what you should be doing? While you doing all of this, you should be simultaneously searching for a truck. Now, it's up to you to determine if you're going to rent a truck, if you're going to buy a truck. That's up to you. You know what I'm saying? You got to make that decision. You know what your plans are. You know what your goals are. You know what your finances look like. You know what your long-term plan is. Whatever. That's up to you. So you need to be looking for a truck because you're going to have to get insurance, and insurance is going to be the final piece to this puzzle in order for you to go active, for your authority to go active, right? In today's times, it would probably be better to rent a truck. To buy a truck. But Penske called me the other day. And even though I didn't need anything from him, I did ask for him to give me a quote. $700 a week, 20 cents a mile for a 26-foot box truck. All right. So that's about the going rate right now. All right. So you got to find a truck. You got to buy a truck or you got to rent a truck. Now, once you figure out what truck you're going to get, and here's another thing when you're sourcing your truck, keep in mind that profit margins in this industry are very, very small. Amazon, small. OTR, small. Curbside, they're small, but not as small as going over the road. Big and bulky, depending on if you're in the truck or not, they're small. They're small even if you're on the truck, but you're killing one of the labor. So where you may be paying a driver $250 to $300 a day, that's an extra $250 to $300 that's staying in your pocket. All right. And depending on if you have claims or not, right? But it's local work, so you're not spending as much as in fuel and maintenance over a period of time as a person who's going OTR because they're driving that truck harder. Moving, you have way better margins because you're setting the price. You know what I'm saying? If you're charging a customer let's say two guys $100 an hour, right? And you're paying each guy $25, you can set your you can create your own margins. If I'm charging a customer $100 an hour for labor and I'm paying the two guys $25 an hour a piece, that's 50. So I'm making a 50% profit just on the labor alone, and I'm not even there. So I'm making $50 an hour off the labor. You're charging 20% markup on the material, and then you're charging a truck fee. Truck fee could be $150, $200, $250, depending on the size of the truck and what comes along with it. If you're not charging a markup for material, then you charge $200 truck fee, and you cover the fuel and the material and the cost of the truck fee. If you're running, let's say, a 16-footer to a 26-footer, and let's say you got a route that's not doing a large 3, 4, 5 bedroom home move that day where they're going to be on that job that one day. Let's say you got a 16-footer that's out running and it has 3 moves scheduled for that day. Let's say 3 1-bedrooms, or say a studio and 2 1-bedrooms, or two 1-bedrooms and a 2-bedroom. They got a morning move, 4-hour window, an afternoon 4-hour window, and they got an evening move, 4-hour window, right? You're charging the customer, depending on how many guys, either 100 for 2 guys an hour, 2-hour minimum, 150, let's say, for 3 guys with a 2-hour minimum. And then each one of those moves, you're charging a truck fee. Let's say you're charging $175, $200 truck fee. Now, all 3 of those moves could still be in that same circumference, that same area, but each customer is paying a truck fee. So you made $600 a day off a truck fee and you didn't even burn a full tank of gas. You might only burnt a half a tank of gas. Because if you're in a big city, the way you set your moves up, person is going to call you for a move way ahead of time, a month, 2 months ahead of time. So you can kind of schedule your moves. Okay, I'm going to cover this side of town. This day I'm going to cover this side of town. I'm going to cover this college town. Their parents, their semester's over. So it's going to be a lot of college kids coming from the University of Chicago, or University of Illinois, Chicago, or DePaul, or Loyola. So I know that those days I'm going to make sure I got a truck scheduled. So that truck is just working that area. So it's not burning no gas. But each person, if we got 3 moves scheduled in that little college area, it's got to pay $200. $600 just off the truck fee. That's all to the company. So you have to understand what you're doing to help determine what your budget for your truck is. You don't want to go out here and buy a really, really expensive truck, understanding that the profit margins in this business are very, very low, and you have to plan for unforeseen incidences. If you're running big and bulky, there's going to be claims. Listen, don't come up on my channel telling me, well, man, I'm going to be careful. Ain't going to be no claims. I don't care how careful you are. You're going to have a claim sooner than you think. There's no way to do 12, 13, 14 stops every single day, 5-6 days a week, and not nick a wall or bump a wall or scratch a floor or scratch a dresser or scratch the stainless steel on a refrigerator or bump a washer and dryer, a stackable washer and dryer, and put a little ding in it. It's impossible. Why? Because you're doing that many stops. Eventually, later on in the day, you're going to get fatigued. You're going to come across a stop where you're going to get frustrated. Why? Because the customer ordered something the size of a watermelon and they expect you to squeeze it into something the size of a lemon, and you're frustrated. You're frustrated with your coworker because he's nagging, he's bugging because his girl is calling him and she want to get home, or it's one of those days where it's 95 degrees outside and you steady hopping on the back of that truck and it's sweltering on the back of that truck. Or you got a person who ordered a 26 cubic foot refrigerator, French door that's got to go up 3 flights of stairs to a condo. So now you got to take off all the doors, and it's the LG with the computer on the top. So now you got to take the cap off and you got to unscrew and take the cables out, and then you got to tilt the refrigerator back and unconnect the water line and still take the doors off. Then you got to put the straps on and go up 3 flights of stairs. And you got to be careful the whole time you're doing it. And it's 95 degrees outside. In a traditional Chicago 3 flat. It's going to happen. You're frustrated. You nick a wall. It happens. You have to keep in mind. Now, some people say, I'm going to buy me a new truck. Go ahead. I don't want no truck with rust on it. Hey, listen, whatever. I've always been the person, I take a mechanic with me. Every time I went and bought a used truck, I would take my mechanic with me. I would pay him for the day. We would spend the whole day. You have to keep this in mind. You go out and you spend an arm and a leg on a truck and you paying $1,800, $1,900. Listen, you could do what you want to do. You're paying $1,800, $1,900. The newer the truck, the more expensive the truck, the more expensive the insurance. And there's going to be people that negate this and they want to debate. No problem, fine. But running locally versus running OTR is a totally different thing. If you're going to run local and you plan on running local, to me, it doesn't make sense to go out and buy a 2023 and 2024. I'd rather go out and buy 2012, 2013, 2015. Take my mechanic with me. Spend the whole day there. They got 10 trucks there. We're going to test drive all of them. We're going to diagnose all of them. We're going to spend the day there. We're not going in there, whoop, bam, thank you, ma'am. We want to look for the best bang for our buck. Why? Because I want to increase my profit margin. If I can find a gem in here that just need a little TLC, externally, but that powertrain, that engine, that trans is strong. And my mechanic said, man, that powertrain strong. You just throw a little paint on some of them wheels, and it's a hole or two in the box. We can put some seal on that. Let's go. And I can save $6,000 or $7,000, $8,000. We gone. We gone. Why? Because I need to increase my profit margin. I need to increase my profit margin. So you have to keep this in mind when buying a truck. We can go into financing and stuff, but we did a video on that. This is just starting. These are the steps to start. All right. So we're not going to go into how to buy a truck, how to source funding for a truck. We're not. But I did want to give you that information because so many people don't take this into consideration when they starting as far as purchasing the truck. You got to keep in mind how much you're going to spend on the truck. The more you spend, the more that cuts into your bottom line. All right. So sourcing a truck. All right. Now, once you source your truck, now you have to get it insured. And this is going to be the final step for you to go, for your authority to go active. All right. Insurance. Where's my pen? So after you get the truck, now you got to get your insurance. All right. Boom. Insurance. All right, boom. All right, now, what most people like to do is they don't do the research. They go to Google, and Progressive pops up because Progressive spends a lot of money in advertising. And Progressive is the only web insurance company, for the most part, where you can sit and set up your own commercial insurance on your own. But you don't want to do that. Even though you can do that, you don't want to do that. There are a plethora of other insurance companies out here that you don't know about. But there is a person that does know about them, a broker. I highly, strongly suggest that when it's time, you get your truck and it's time for you to get your insurance, you go out and you get a commercial insurance broker. Let them shop you. I had a guy recently who did a coaching session. He had a quote from someone in his market for $2,500, $2,000 a month, something crazy. Cargo van. And he didn't do it on his own. He went to some broker in his market. Now, I don't give my broker out. I don't like doing that. But he booked a bundle pack. So I had to look out for him. I said, man, that's kind of high. I said, man, I'm going to put you in tune with my broker. So he went from $2,000 a month to $898 a month with my broker. And guess who he was with? The guy who he went to had him with Progressive for $2,000 a month. My broker had him with Progressive for $898 a month. So this goes back to what I always say too. Find you a broker that's willing to work with you. If you find a broker, and I'm going to tell you how to search for a broker too, and you go to your broker and they kick you back a quote the same day, like an hour later, that's a lazy broker. You don't want that broker. If they kick you back a quote within the first hour, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be Progressive. If it's not Progressive, on the second leg, it's going to be Byberg. If they kick you back a quote within the first hour, that means they went straight to Progressive. They think you a goofy. They trying to get the most, because the broker gets paid off you paying the insurance company a bill. They get a kickback. They get a residual, right? The higher you pay for insurance, the bigger they kickback is. 5% on $2,000 a month is a lot more kickback for them than 5% on $900 a month. So if they know you new because you come in there agreeing, hey, I just started my box truck biz, I'm so excited, I just need insurance so I can go active. I'm just so excited, man. I just want to get this show on the run. They listening to you. Oh man, he green. They get paid off you paying your insurance. So it's in their best interest to give you something that's expensive. The broker is the middleman. They connect you with the insurance company. A broker that's working with you shouldn't call you back the same day. Why? Because they have to shop you. They're gonna email you an application. You're gonna put your name, your number, your DOT, your MC, what you plan on doing. You crossing state lines, you're not crossing state lines. They gotta run your MBR, your license, all that. Once they get your profile, they create a profile for you. They have to shop you. There's a multitude of different insurance companies: Acuity, Mercury, Grange, Byberg, National Fire and Liability, Progressive. The list goes on. Once they send you out, they have to wait for proposals to come back. They don't come back the same day. You might get one back tomorrow. You might get a company come back 2 days. You might get one to come back 3 days. You might get one to come back 5 days. Once they get enough proposals in, the broker is going to go through all of them. And a broker's best interest is to get you the best bang for your buck. A real broker is looking at longevity. They want you to stay in business. I'd rather have a client, if I was an insurance broker, I want to give them the cheapest rate so that I can help ensure that they stay in business. So I'd rather get 3% for 10, 15, 20 years than stick them with 3% or 5% or whatever the residual is off something that's a lot higher to take more money from their bottom line and increase the possibility of them going out of business because it shortens their profit margin. So if a broker gets right back to you the same day within the same hour with a quote from Progressive, find another broker. Once the broker gets all the proposals back, he's going to go through everything. And he's going to present you with the best option. Now, here's something that a lot of people didn't know until they found my channel. You don't have to have insurance. Oh, I got my general liability, my commercial auto, and my cargo with Byberg, or I got all of it with Progressive, or I got all of it with this company, all with that company. No, it can be broken up. This is how you know you got a really good broker. More than half of my career in trucking, I never had the same company. I've had Acuity for general liability. I've had Mercury, Grange, and Progressive for commercial auto at different time periods. I've had Grange and National Fire and Liability for cargo. So I've never had, except when I first started, the first 2 or 3 years I had Grange for general liability, for commercial auto and for cargo, and I had Acuity for general liability. After Grange dropped us, I've had Acuity for general liability throughout the whole career, Mercury for commercial auto, and National Fire and Liability for cargo. Why? Because that was the cheapest way. It was cheaper than going Mercury for everything. It was cheaper than going Acuity for everything. It was cheaper than going National Fire and Liability for everything. National Fire and Liability's cargo insurance was cheaper than everybody else's cargo insurance, but they were higher for commercial auto and general liability. So we went with National Fire and Liability just for cargo. It's listed on the Accord form. We went with Mercury just for commercial auto. Policy number listed on the Accord form. Acuity just for general liability. Policy number listed on the Accord form. If we need additional insurance, workers' comp for anything, a particular job or project we're working on, it would be listed under additional remarks. If we need to add somebody to the policy as additionally insured, listed additional remarks. That's it. But a broker who's really working towards your best interest is going to take the time and look at all these different proposals and piece this together So it saves you money in the long run. Well, Mark, how do you find a commercial insurance broker? I'm glad you asked. I'm going to give you a secret trick. All right. A lot of y'all ask me for my broker. I'm not giving you my broker. Why? Because some of y'all just gonna be wasting this time. And I've been dealing with him since 2012. All right. So I'm gonna give you a trick. All right. There's certain insurance companies that you can't just go and search for insurance and set your own insurance up like you can do with Progressive, right? Most commercial insurance companies, you gotta go through a broker. All right. So you want to go through one of those insurance companies where you got to go through a broker. Grange is one of them. All right. This is the first company that I ever had. You can't just go to Grange's website and say, I want commercial insurance. You can't. They only deal with brokers. You have to go through a broker. So you're going to go to Grange's website and you're going to click Find an Agency. All right. Now, you're going to put a zip code in, whatever. All right. So it's giving me all the ones in my area. I'm downtown Chicago. So that's why it's showing me all downtown stuff, right? Boom. So notice none of these companies say Grange Insurance. Why? Because these are all brokers. These are all brokers that partner with Grange. They're set up to be brokers with Grange. Most brokers are set up to broker with a multitude of different insurance companies. The broker gets paid from the insurance company. You don't pay the broker. You pay the insurance company. The broker is the liaison. The insurance company kicks the broker back a kickback. None of these companies say Grange. USI Insurance Services, LLC, Buyer Insurance Agency, Superior. So boom, you go to Grange, you put your zip code in, and then you start seeing what's in your area. You start going to their websites. Look at their reviews. Look at their Google rating. Look at their Google reviews. See if they have Yelp reviews. Find one that you like. Give them a call. Ask them some questions. Tell them what you're trying to do. Make a determination on which broker you want to go with. This is how you find a broker. It's not hard. People come to me, Mark, I can't find a broker. Go to an insurance company website that you can't get insurance with directly that only deals with broker. They'll have a part up here that says find an agent. Let's go look at another one. Mercury. Now, these are all insurance companies that I've dealt with in the past. All right, so you want to go commercial, business auto insurance. Let's go there. It should have. Let's go back here. Let me see. Make a one-time payment. Let's see if they have a place where you can find it. They gotta find your agent here, but I think this is more for individual. Let's see if they gotta find an agent. Well, yeah, they want you to call. They want you to call for small business. So call. You give them a call, right? And then they'll set you up with a broker. All right? You have to go through a broker with these companies. I say use Grange because Grange has it set up where, you can put your zip code in and then, a bunch will come up in your area. So this is how you find a broker. It's not hard, guys. It's not hard. It's not hard. All right. Find a broker. All right. Boom. Where do we leave off at? All right. So boom. Now, after you find your broker, you get your commercial insurance broker. He's going to go shop you. He's going to present you with something. You decide what you're going to go with. You sign it. It's the broker's responsibility to do the filing. If the broker doesn't do the filing, you're not going to go active. A lot of people have come to me over the past. They just sat down at the computer and did Progressive themselves, ripped their own self off. You paying an arm and a leg because you sat down yourself and did it, and you ripping your own self off instead of getting a broker, right? And you didn't understand that in order for you to go active, your authority to go active, the broker must do the filings with the FMCSA. They have a portal to do the filings to let the FMCSA know that you are insured. You don't have access to that portal. Only licensed agents and brokers can do that. Also, an agent is not a broker. A broker is not an agent. An agent is someone, when you call Progressive and you talk to somebody on the phone with Progressive, that's an insurance agent. They an agent for Progressive. A broker is someone who can deal with any company. My broker, he can deal me and set me up with any company. He's going to shop me with a bunch of companies, and he's going to say, listen, we going with them, we going with them, and we going with them. So make sure you understand the difference between a commercial insurance broker and an agent. It's two different things. So now once your insurance broker does the filings, you should be going active within 21 days. All right, boom. Now we got that out the way. Boom. All right. Man, this is a lot more work than I thought it was, man. Doing this box truck for dummies. I thought I was gonna be in and out. All right, we got the truck, we got the insurance. Now you're active. You got your truck. You got everything. You structure your business. You go to Safer website. You see your company is active. You ready to go. You got your truck. You active. Boom. Now, what you got to do is you got to get you some equipment. You got to get you some equipment. All right. You got to get equipment for your truck. All right. So boom. Now we just going to list some things. We're not going to list everything. This is what's going to come up when you do your research. I'm just going to list some things. Obviously, if you're going OTR, Amazon, stuff like that, you're going to want to get you some load bars. You're going to want to get you some straps, some shrink wrap. This is universal for any lane you decide to go in. If you're moving, you want to get you some movers tape. Straps, which are the ratchet straps. Ratchet straps. What else? Movers, you want to get your hump straps, shoulder straps. What else? You also want to get your dollies, right? Your hand trucks, dollies. I prefer, like, if you're doing like let's say cargo van, office supply delivery, you want to get like a mag liner. That's about 250. No, they more now. They're like 300, 350 bucks. Or, you can go to Home Depot and just get you a regular 2-wheel hand truck. Make sure you get a good steel one. Movers, you want to get your 4-wheel dollies. You want to get a few of them. Low bars, ratchet straps. Movers, you might want to get some masonite to cover up the floors. Runners. It's just a multitude of different equipment that you can get. So depending on which lane you ultimately decide to go with, you would need to research what type of equipment you need to load up and have on your truck to protect the goods, protect the property, all right? And protect the load, all right? You can outfit your truck. If you're in a cargo van, there's certain things you can get to outfit your truck. If you buy a truck and it doesn't have E-Tracks, you can buy E-Tracks and outfit your truck with E-Tracks if they don't have them. So you would have to research, depending on what lane you're going into, to determine what equipment you're going to use. Now, we're getting to the end of this here. All right, so now you got your truck equipped. You got what you need to get out there and start running. Now, obviously, if you're going to run Amazon Relay, you know how to go sign up for that. You just go to the Amazon Relay website and you go through the process. Do I need to show it? Maybe I should show it. All right, let's show it. All right. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. All right, so this is the Amazon Relay website. You would just go here and you just sign up. All right, carriers. Get started. Create new account. All right. It's simple, guys. It's simple. It's going to ask you basically for everything that you got. Your name, your address, your MC, your DOT, your structure of business, the name of your company. It's going to ask you for your tax ID form. It's probably going to ask you for your banking account information. They're probably going to send you a W-9 so they can send you a 1099 at the end of the year so you can do your taxes. Cut and dry. All right, that's Amazon Relay. Now, let's get into where a lot of people have problems at. Now, if you plan on going OTR, all right, you got some decisions you got to make, right? You got some decisions you got to make because it may be a little bit difficult. And I must mention too that Amazon Relay, when you get a new authority, you can't just jump right into Amazon Relay anymore. There's a 180-day waiting period from when you got your authority. So whenever your authority went active, you got to be active 6 months to get with Amazon Relay now. Now, OTR is a little different. There are more and more companies that are kind of shying away from new carriers. There are still some companies out there that will deal with new carriers. Me and Kirk did a live stream middle part of last year, probably like spring of last year. I think it was in May. You want to go into the members only section and look at that live stream. And there's a list of carriers that will work with a new authority. I'll give you a freebie. TQL is one of them. All right, now there's a lot of people that don't like TQL that have things to say about it, but here, anything beats a blank. If you on the new and there's not many brokers that are gonna want to deal with you on new, you got to take what you can get. All right, this is something that you got to understand going in. A lot of people get in and then they start complaining because they're getting refused. All right, so you got to understand this coming in if you plan on going OTR. This is why when I go back to what I talk about when you're sourcing your equipment, you need to keep this in mind. You don't want to come in with a really high initial cost. You want to keep your initial cost as minimal as possible because starting off, especially going OTR, you may have weeks where you may not run, you may have short weeks. And if you're quitting your job to do this full time, then you got to make sure you got enough working capital to cover you while you're going through the learning curve and while you're waiting for your authority to age. You may not be out there. You may be sitting at truck stops because you're getting declined. You may just not be running as often as you might want to run because you want a new one. A lot of people not messing with you. So you want to make sure that your cost is not that high where it's going to bury you at the beginning. And you need to make sure you got enough working capital to withstand that learning curve period and that waiting period while you're waiting for your authority to age. All right. So you got to keep this in mind. Something else that you need to have when you're starting out is a load board. God damn it. Pick your load board. A lot of people go with DAT. All right. DAT load board. All right. Now, the reason why I say load board, some people, I don't need a load board. I'm going to get a dispatcher. All right. That's something else you can go with too. All right. But here's the thing. And I'm going to keep it buck with you. And this is debatable. And I'm not an OTR guy. You know, I'm a moving company guy. I'm a final mile guy. But I know this lane, right? Me personally, if I was running OTR, I'm not paying a dispatcher. I'm not giving somebody, and shout out to the dispatcher, but me personally, I'm not giving somebody money for something I could do myself. I'm not giving you 10%. Why? Because I understand the margins in this business are small. If my margin is 10% or 15% and I'm giving you 10% of 15%, now I'm only making 5%. The average trucker in America, the average trucker's profit margin is 2.5% to 6%. I want to increase my margin any way I can. If cutting out a dispatcher is going to increase my margin, if I'm going to increase my margin here by 10% by cutting out a dispatcher, why am I going to pay for a dispatcher when I can just pay $180 or whatever for a load board one time a month? Why, if I run this load for $1,000, now I got to give the dispatcher 10% of that, so now I'm losing $100 here. If I run this load for $3,000, now I got to give the dispatcher $300 here, and I'm doing, let's say I do this all in 1 week. So in 1 week, I already gave this person $400. Now let's say if I average out to paying my dispatcher $500 a week times 4 weeks, I'm spending $2,000 a month with a dispatcher. That $2,000 can go back to my bottom line and increase my profit margin, because I can utilize this DAT load board, the most expensive one, and pay $180 and spending some time booking my own loads. That's it. I can spend time booking my own loads. Give me 1 second, y'all. I gotta hold on 1 second. I gotta change something here. What happened? How did that change? Give me 1 second, y'all. I don't like how that look. Give me 1 second. 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 How did that screen jump like that? All right, here we go. Hold on. I'm gonna put this over there. There we go. All right, boom. All right, boom. So yeah, so I want to increase my bottom line. And I know this looks like a lot of scribble scrabble, but if you following the stream or you watch the replay, you getting the point. Paul Smith said, Mark, it ain't that easy in the beginning, though. That's what I'm saying. In the beginning, you're not going to get a lot of opportunities with a lot of brokers. I know I just said that. I don't know, maybe you left and came back or something. But I just said that. So it's not going to be easy at the beginning. That's why you have to be mindful of your initial cost. That's why you have to have working capital. That's why when I say just enough money is not enough money, you have to have working capital. You have to have money that's going to help you pay your bills while you're still trying to figure things out, and why brokers are turning you away because your authority ain't aged. Unless you're talking about it ain't that easy at the beginning, where you have to get a dispatcher at the beginning because they have relationships. Now, let's talk about that narrative. If that is the case, which goes back to why I said you need to make sure your initial cost is not expensive. If you come in with a high initial cost and at the beginning you are forced to get a dispatcher because you're just not getting the opportunity, so now you got to pay a dispatcher to utilize their connections and utilize their relationships to book you loads. Now you got to pay, now you got an additional 10%. But I would make that short term. As soon as you can get out of that dispatcher or come from under that dispatcher, you want to come from under that dispatcher, but you want to make sure coming into this business, you have enough room. Keep that in mind. You may need a dispatcher at the beginning. So you want to keep that in mind. I can't express this enough. Listen, I get the opportunity to talk to a lot of people. I get a chance to look at a lot of people's books. Most people's books that I look at are operating in the red, and they don't even have books. I still have yet for someone to send me a CSV or a PDF from some accounting software or their statement so I can look from a professional standpoint at someone's profit and loss sheet. I have to literally manually, all right, what you spent, all right, how much you spent on this, how much you spent on that, how much you spent on this, how much you pay yourself, to determine that they're operating at a loss. So once again, I want to reiterate this, especially if you're coming into OTR. When you're starting your business, from your insurance, dealing with your broker, make sure you got the best, most affordable insurance you can get. Make sure you find a broker that's really going to shop you. When you This is the big issue, your truck. I know some of you guys, I've had debates. I forget what's his name, Marcus. He refused to get a truck from the Midwest because they're rusty. The undercarriage is rusty. You know, some people want a newer truck. I had a debate with a lady when I first started my YouTube channel. She's not even in business no more. I'm getting me a new truck. I said, ma'am, I don't think you'll be able to sustain with a new truck. This is back when the trucks were really, really expensive. She wanted a new truck, was over $100,000. I'm getting a new truck. She kind of went off on me. She's done. She didn't last I don't think she lasted 4 months. I think they repoed the truck. Now, I'm not saying go out here and get an old jalopy, but you want to get something that's fair, that's going to give you enough room to still profit if you have to go out and spend money on additional services like dispatching. The margins are very small. I cannot reiterate that enough. All right. So that's OTR. Final mile, a little bit different. You're dealing with just the 3PL, right? And they're going to take a percentage, right? Nowadays, the average percentage that they're going to take is going to be somewhere on average, and it's high, about 45% to about 55%. All right, that's what a 3PL takes if you're doing big and bulky. If you're doing curbside, you're making anywhere on the low end about $33 a stop to depending on the contract, depending on what you're carrying, to about $57 a stop. All right. Now there are some cases where you have people, depending on the scope of the stop, can make up to $125 a stop. All right. Now that depends on the scope, but on average, somewhere between $33 to $57 a stop. If you're wanting curbside, that's curbside. Final mile, up to $125 a stop. Now that all depends, on the scope of the job. On the low end for final mile, big and bulky, about $40 a stop. That's on the very, very low end. All right. So curbside, $33 a stop to about $57 a stop. Low end to high end, big and bulky, low end, $40 a stop to about $125 a stop. There are instances where you can make more than $125 a stop for big and bulky. And obviously that depends on the scope of the job. Obviously, let's say you're going to a new condo, full gut rehab condo, and they ordered all new appliances in that one particular stop. You got a stackable washer and dryer. You got an over the hood over the hood range, dishwasher, and refrigerator. And then whatever needs to be installed, the refrigerator, the washer and dryer. So now you're going to get to pay for those deliveries plus the hookup. So that stop could pay over $125. It might pay you $180. It might pay you $215. It all depends. All right. So that's final mile. What else? All right. So then moving, I think we kind of covered moving. You set your prices. Average price right now for 2 men, depending on the market, is about $100 an hour to about $125 an hour. 3 men, depending on the market, right now it's about $150 an hour to $300 an hour. All right, for 3 men. And then obviously as you go up, 4 men it's more, 5 men it's more, 6 men it's more, depending on the scope of the job, depending on the market. Truck fee, depending on the size of the vehicle, is ranging right now somewhere between $100 to $300. And then material, the average is usually a 20% markup. All right. Um, and that's moving. All right. And I think that's it. Those are the steps for starting a box truck business. We broke them down. I gave you a little context on some of them. I know my scribble scrabble on the whiteboard, it's not really legible, but nowadays we use computers for everything. We're typing, so our motor skills and our fingers aren't as good as it used to be back in the day because we're not really writing things anymore, and I apologize for that. So I'll take a few questions, man. I didn't know this was going to take that long, but I did have to put context to some things. I'm a little under 2 hours. Emax said, so would you have a driver for your truck or drive it yourself? If I was starting a business, I would 100% absolutely drive it myself, because 9 times out of 10, if you're starting a trucking business, especially OTR, you're going to fail if you put a driver in there from the beginning. To be honest with you, I'm just keeping it. We can debate it. I think coming out the gate, I don't think it's enough margin there to put a driver in there. Another thing is, if you never driven a truck before, how can you effectively run a business? How can you delegate and dictate to a person what to do and what not to do? How can you effectively problem solve when issues arise and be able to know what to do in certain situations if you haven't been placed in those situations yourself? I think in order to run a business effectively, you have to be boots on the ground, grassroots, bootstrap it yourself for a time period to effectively bring somebody in, place them in that equipment, and send them off, because you have to train them. You have to train a person to your standards and your liking. It's your company, so you set the rules. It's just like someone came up on the channel a few months ago, and it was like, I think it was the lady, the video I just put up the other day, I think. And she was like, well, yeah, these guys, I hired them. They said they did this before. So did you train them? No, because they said they did this before for another company. So how do you know the reason why they're applying with your company is because they sucked at the company they came from? Even if they was good at that company, you don't want them to bring their bad habits to your company. You want to establish your ground rules, the way you do things, your policy and your procedure for your company. In order to train somebody, you got to know what the job entails. Anybody that comes from another company to my company, I don't care if it's the mirror of the same job. If it's the same job to the T, I don't care. They have to get trained to my liking, because whatever bad habits that they had over there is not coming over here. Now, you get in my truck, you're going to wait for the thing to ding 3 times before you turn the key. See, over there, you might just put the key in the ignition and turn it. No, you're going to get in my truck, you're going to go ding, 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 then you start it. In my truck, you're going to let it, and if it's the wintertime, if it's below 32 degrees, you're going to sit there for 15 minutes and let it warm up. You're going to do your pre-check. Now, at the end of the day, the moving, yeah, we was tired at the end of the day. We'll fold the blankets. I don't care how tired you is. You bring a truck back to my yard, blankets folded. I want all the ratchet straps up on the E-tracks on the hook, nice and neat. I want all the 4-wheel dolly strapped to the dolly, pushed in the blanket. I want the blankets nice and uniform, folded from the floor all the way up to the ceiling. I want the fold out. I don't want to see any flaps coming out. I want the folds out. I want all the speed backs to the back of the truck, ratcheted to the side. Don't leave none of my shrink wrap in the back of the truck. Keep all the shrink wrap in the front of the truck, behind the driver or the passenger seat, because when you put it in the back of the truck, sometimes it gets loose and it starts rolling around, and then little debris from the floor gets caught in the shrink wrap, and then when you go to shrink wrap something and you get to wrap it, it gets stuck, and then now you got nits and dings, and now that's a $40 roll of shrink wrap that's wasted. See, you wouldn't know all this stuff if you've never did it to set these policies, these procedures, and these protocols to train somebody. You got shrink wrap rolling around the back of the damn truck, picking up every little rock and pebble, and then you get to the next job and you try to unroll it and it's steady tearing and breaking because you got pebbles and shit in it. You wouldn't know that if you ain't been out there and came across that. To be able to train, don't leave no shrink wrap in the back of the truck. Keep all the tape in the front of the truck. Keep the carpet runners, the plastic carpet runners in the front of the truck. Why? Because in the summertime and the wintertime, it gets really cold. It gets hard to peel. You run the truck yourself at the beginning. Most people who, I'm going to start a box truck business. And you thinking like one of the people that I talk to all the time on the call-in show. You're not going to be able to be successful if you don't know what you're doing. How can you train someone? How can you, to get a box truck and just send somebody out there, you setting your driver up for failure. No, you gotta get out there on your own. You gotta get out there on your own. You gotta get out there on your own. I'm new to trucking. We're still picking up lingo, but yeah, old Charlie. Okay, y'all talking to him. Daniel said, hey, keep giving us this good content. Appreciate learning more and more from you about this lane. Appreciate you, Daniel. Thank you for watching. Marcellus Brown, bro, hands down, you really giving the game on your channel. I'm tuning in every day and I'm about to sign up for membership. All those other dudes and channels are trash. You giving it up, bro. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. Thank you. Andre McKinney, what up? I just moved yesterday from Stony Island to Hyde Park. Oh, you in Hyde Park, man? Shout out to everybody from the crib, man. You know what we do for people. You moved from Stony Island to Hyde Park, all right? You moved from Stony. Okay, so you moved from out south Stony Island to Hyde Park for $750. Sound like you might have been moving just a 1-bedroom. $750. That sound like a 1-bedroom. Hyde Park, Stony Island to Hyde Park ain't that far. So depending on what you got, $750. That sound like a 1-bedroom. When to determine a 2-man or a 3-man moving crew? Depends on the job, the scope of the job. Okay, if it's a studio, we'll give you a few scenarios. If a person call you, say, I'm moving a studio within a 5-mile radius. It's a first floor to a first floor. That's a 2-man job. If a person calls and say, hey, I'm moving a studio within a 5-mile radius from a first floor walk up to a 3rd-man walk up, that's a 3-man job. I don't send 2 men to do 3rd floors. If it's a 3rd floor, 3 guys. I don't care if it's a studio. 3 guys. It could be a 3rd floor to a 4th floor walk up. 3 guys. If it's a 1-bedroom, first floor to a 2nd floor, 3 guys. I learned early on, you don't want to put too much on your guys, especially when it comes to those 3rd floors, especially when they got to do 2 to 3 moves a day. All right. And then here's the thing. You may have a customer, it could be busy moving season, and the person calls and says, hey, I got a studio to move within a 5-mile radius. It's the first floor to first floor. If you're booked, you got your morning book, you got 8 a.m. booked. That job should end sometime between 11 and 12. You give yourself an hour to get to the next job. You get that next customer a 1 to 4 window, right? Just to be on the safe side, 1 to 3 window. If you get 3 or 4 hour windows, you book that job. You say, you know what? I got a 4 to 7 window available for 3 guys. Well, man, it's only a studio from a first floor to a first floor. But let's say your first 2 jobs require 3 men. Listen, ma'am, this is what I got available. You want to move the first of the month. I got 1 slot left. It's the first of the month. It's the busiest moving day of the month. Take it or leave it. You know what a person going to do? 9.5% of the time, especially during busy moving seasons, they're going to take it. Oh, you upsell customers all the time, especially busy moving seasons. They call it the last minute. Listen, I've sent 3 men to move dorms. They got to pay. I hit them with the, man, that's all I got available. That's all I got available. And they ain't got no choice but to take it. But yeah, you just want to determine it. You don't want to kill your guys, right? But A 1 bedroom, first to first, 2 guys. Studio, 2 guys, as long as it's like a first to a second. You can determine if you want to send 3 guys to do a first to a third. It can be, it's doable, but you need to keep in mind, listen, if those guys got 3 jobs, do you really want to have them running up 3 flights of stairs? Because it could be their first job and they're humping. Then you got to remember, man, I don't know how close the truck going to be. It could be a high-rise building to a high-rise building. Some of these high-rise buildings, you have to go into the loading dock, and then you might have to go through a long hallway to get to the freight elevator. So it's easier and it's better with 3 guys because you got a system. All right. For instance, when you're moving, you got 3 guys. It's always more efficient. Why? Because now you got a truck guy who never gets off the truck, right? If he's the truck guy on the load, he's the guy loading the truck. You got 2 guys running in and out, running up the stairs, bringing stuff down. They just setting it on the edge of the truck. This guy is packing the truck. Same thing with the unload. You got a truck guy. He's unloading the truck. He's pulling the stuff to the front. He's setting it up. If it's an elevator building, he's taking the stuff up. He's sitting the stuff on the elevator. So when the crew comes down, the only thing they got to do is load the elevator. You got 2 guys. You ain't got a truck guy. So now you got those guys carrying shit in and out. And now they got to get up on the truck, walk that shit all the way to the back of the truck and pack it. It's always more efficient with 3 guys. You always, because with 3 guys, you always got a guy on the truck. You always got a guy on the truck. And he's packing the truck, he's unloading the truck. It's always more efficient. That's why even with jobs that didn't require 3 men, I would always try to sell the customer on 3 guys because now I can possibly book another 4th job on that particular route that day because now a 2-hour job for 2 men going to turn into a 1-hour job. And now if I can find another little job in that same area, now I can book 4 jobs on that truck and maximize my earning potential. Now we done turned a damn a 250, 250, 350, a $400 job into $700. And we able to squeeze 2 of them in. So now we done made $1,400 in 2 hours. Especially if it's busy moving season. You just got to know how to get it. This is where your sales comes in, and you learn these tricks and these tactics over time from just being experienced, talking to different customers, learning your market, understanding the supply and demand. I know that if a customer is trying to book a May 31st move on May 25th, we're not the first company she's called. She's getting a bunch of we're booked. It's the last day of the month, May. So if I have a slot because of a cancellation and it's a studio and it's a 1-bedroom, then I need that. First of all, you calling too late. I need that. I need $750 about you for that little 1 hour. I don't care if it's a building, an in-building move. Man, I got 3 guys. Well, I don't need 3 guys. We're just moving from the 5th floor to the 50th floor. Listen, man, it's the May 25th. You looking to move on May 31st. Like, it's the last day of the month. Every moving yeah, I know I've been calling everybody's book. Okay, well, I had a cancellation. What you want to do? It's going to be $300 an hour, and I got to charge you a $125 travel fee. Well, with 3 guys, it should take less than 2 hours. All right, so then it's going to be, 3 guys, 2 hours, 300, 600. It's going to be $725. What you want to do? And she's going to be frustrated. She's going to be mad. She's probably not going to tip the guys because she's about $425 over budget than what she expected to spend. But this is the nature of the business. I got to get it. It's your fault for booking a move at the last minute in the height of the busy moving season. So you're going to learn all these tactics the longer you're in the business. So shout out to you, Kelvin. What I'm saying, let me see. I'm gonna ask you a few more questions. Let me see. Trying to find some good questions. OT, I have no choice but to. Z said, I want to go to OT, I have no choice but to. Oh, okay, so I guess the broker, the insurance. I just know my broker always told me the insurance was filed, so maybe the insurance company was filing it then. Big Current said you've been searching for good brokers lately. Just use the tactic that I showed you. Do you get insurance in your name of the business? If you have a business, everything is going to be under the business. If you're here's the thing. Here's something where a lot of people mess up too. Listen, when you start your business, everything should get everything in the business. Don't start a business and go get your truck in your personal name or your van in your personal name. Everything should be into the business. You're starting a business. You shouldn't have your truck under your personal. People come to my channel, they do this all the time. I don't know why they do it. Everything should be under the business. Your insurance under the business. You don't want nothing in your personal name. Like, y'all have to understand that it's real out here in the field. Anything can happen. For instance, and I was going to talk about this. Look what happened the other day in Baltimore with that cargo ship. It lost power twice. It hit the bridge. What if the person owned the cargo ship in their personal name? You had people that died. You think the city of Baltimore is not going to charge that cargo ship company for structural damage? You think they're not going to go after the insurance company? You think they're not going to sue the company? It's already lawsuits being filed for death. You don't know what will happen when you run a business, especially if you plan on scaling your business and you're going to put people behind the wheel of a truck. What if they fall asleep behind the wheel? You got the business, but you bought the truck in your personal name. So when the state trooper comes and they run the plates, your name comes up. Guess what? They're going to add that to the lawsuit now. You can hope for the best, but you always prepare for the worst. Don't put nothing in your name, period. I don't care who. Listen, we can debate this. I will never, any business that I start will never put anything in my personal name, ever. 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 Anything can happen. Do you think that cargo ship, do you think that morning when that happened, when they hit that beam and that bridge collapsed, anything can happen? Do you think that was done deliberately? It was an accident. I'm pretty sure that is under a company. I mean, that's a cargo ship carrying cargo containers. But just for sake of argument, just so that you can understand, what if that cargo ship was under the owner's personal name? They would still be shitting bricks 4 days later. They probably feel worse. They would probably feel worse than Puffy feel right now. Anything can happen. Any freak little accident can happen. You could be driving a truck. What if your brakes go out? What if you went and just had your brakes done, and what if they didn't do something right? What if you just went and had new tires put on, and the tire shop on one of the tires didn't screw the lugs all the way in, and you're driving, then one of the wheel rolls off, and then you're out of control and you hit somebody and they pass away? Truck is registered in your personal name. Nothing goes in your personal name. Stop going out buying these trucks and these cargo vans under your personal name and you got a business. Don't do it. Don't. I can't reiterate that enough. All right? What else? Let me get a few more. Let me see. right, let me scroll back down. I want to go up too far to see what's current. How much is membership? I think the cheapest one is $2.99. $2.99 up to 24. Cheapest one is $2.99. I have a 5,000 square foot warehouse. I'm interested in scaling into shipping and receiving for designers. Any advice? I need another business venture during the slow winter months. So I started cross docking with my warehouse, and it was an experience within itself. One thing you can do with moving is you can start reaching out to realtors. Find the biggest realtors in your market and start propositioning them or proposing to them that when it's time for them to stage property to sell, your moving company can move the furniture from storage to the property so that the agents can stage it, and then when they sell the property and the stuff needs to get moved out back to storage, you can do that. Also, something else that we used to do with work with interior designers. Find some good big interior designers, some with like really really big clientele, and what happens is when they get commissioned to interior design something, they usually order furniture new, and then you be commissioned to go pick that furniture up and then deliver it to the home and set it up. Like, not stage it, but if it does require um, unboxing and assembly, you can do that. We were doing with this lady here, MHD Design, and she had Chicago Bulls players and stuff. So uh, we got to do a lot of professional basketball players and stuff like that. And obviously, the bigger the interior, the decorating firm, and especially if they have celebrity clientele, you can charge them a premium, because with those celebrity clientele, it's real strenuous, it's real tedious, because they require just certain things. It's so you can charge a premium. So I would look into finding an interior design company. I would look into propositioning some realtors for moving staging furniture to and from. 5,000 square feet is not big enough to do cross docking, in my opinion. So I would start with that. Yeah, 5,000 square feet. Entering skill into shipping and receipt. Yeah, because with 5,000 square feet, depending on the type of contract you get, like if you try to pull it off with 5,000 square feet, as soon as that stuff is coming in, you got to start turning that stuff around within 24, 48 hours. All right, my warehouse was 17,000 square feet, and with the racks, with all the pallets, because what you got to understand is when you start cross docking, you got to do reverse logistics as well. So for just the same amount of the stuff that you got to deliver, you got to do just that amount of pickups too. So that means you have to have an abundance of pallets available, because when you send a crew out to go pick that stuff up for reverse logistics, it's got to go on a pallet. You got to palletize it. So now you need space for pallets. You need space for freights. You got your racking system, your forklift, and it was times it got kind of crowded. Like if I would get I remember we got like 50 um what do you call those massage chairs. Like they sent me 50 massage, like then Veterans Distribution, which is another company here, they're bigger than me. They had a million square foot warehouse, but they were so overcrowded that they told nonstop, like, no, we're not doing no more reverse logistics for Home Depot. We didn't do any Home Depot, so they put them all on me. They put 200 stops on me for Home Depot pickups, and we did them, but now all this stuff is sitting in my warehouse, so now I don't have space. So I got inbound stuff, and then I got all this shit that we picked up. And the thing is, when you do reverse logistics and you pick stuff up, now you have to go into the portal so that they can create a manifest and create an order for the middle mile company to come back to your warehouse to pick that up, and it just doesn't happen like that. Sometimes it would be a week, it would be 2 weeks. Sometimes they wouldn't come at all because before they could create the order for the middleman company to come back, they have to contact the shipper. If the shipper was Wayfair, they would say, look, Wayfair, we delivered this 2 weeks ago. Then we had to go pick it up. The customer didn't want it because they got the 30 days to return it. The delivery company, when they picked it up, here are the pictures. Now they have to wait for approval for Wayfair to say, all right, pick it up, because they're going to ultimately end up paying for it. But if they won't, they might say, man, dispose of it. So sometimes they would have to wait. It might be a week or two, because I'm emailing them. I'm like, man, what's up? We picked up this bedroom set 2-3 weeks ago. It's taking up too much space in the warehouse. And they'll be like, well, we're waiting on Wayfair to let us know if they want to pick it up or if they want to dispose of it. I'll email them again. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things that come along with that warehousing that I wasn't aware of until I got in it. If I had to do it again, I probably wouldn't, but it was a great experience, and that's how I'm able to sit here and give you these scenarios now. So, I mean, that's up to you, but I would try to go with the staging, the moving the staging furniture for the realtor companies. That's easy money. That's easy money. And the interior design, picking stuff up from most interior designers I noticed that we ran with, they all use Coaster. It's a furniture company called Coaster Furniture. It's like, I don't want to say it's cheap furniture, but it's not expensive. And they have like different distribution centers throughout the country, and you go there and you pick the stuff up, and most of it is flat packed in boxes. You got to assemble it. So, I mean, those jobs pay really, really good. It's just tedious because you got to put all the stuff together. I would rather go those routes versus me personally than warehousing. Warehousing is expensive, and what you don't understand, and what I had to come to understand too when I did it, was when you get these accounts with these middle mile companies for cross docking, they only cover the pickup or the drop off. They cover the drop off for the delivery, and then they'll cover the reverse logistics for the pickup. All the stuff in between, as far as the warehousing cost, is not included in what they pay you to drop the stuff off or pick the stuff up. So you got to remember, when you're warehousing, you have to have security, because you might have 200 or 300 or 400. You got 5,000 square foot warehouse. So let's say $250,000, $400,000 worth of freight in there at any given time. So now you got to up your security system. You also got to get a warehouse management system, because now you have to know where every single thing is. You got to get a forklift. All right. So now you got to get propane, every so many propane tanks. And then when the forklift breaks down, it's for Crown to come out there. It's $150 an hour with a 2-hour minimum, and they start charging that $150 from the time they leave their warehouse. And then if they get to you and then they need a part, they got to go back out to the suburb to get it, and they still charge you $150 an hour while they go back to their damn place to get the part and come back, and they're charging you for this shit. So you got to do that. You got to get your racking system, right? Because if it's 5,000 square feet, depending on how high the ceiling is, you got 5,000 square feet of floor space. So now you got to start, if you want to maximize the space, now you got to get your racking system, because now you got to start storing stuff on the racks, because now you got to use the airspace so that you can maximize how much freight you can bring in, which is why you need the forklift. You're doing reverse logistics. Guess what? Now you got to get more dumpsters. Why? Because if you got guys doing final mile delivery and they're doing white glove, and the customer pays for white glove, it's for breakdowns, for package removal, and all that cardboard and styrofoam comes back to your facility now. So now you got to get a 10-yard container, recyclable, and a garbage container for the garbage, and you got to pay for that. And depending on how much volume you got of deliveries is going to determine how many pickups you need a week. You got to pay for that. So all these costs that are associated with the warehouses, none of that, they don't pay you for none of that. See, I didn't know that going in. I didn't even think about it until I was in the thick of it. But once I started, like, God damn, guess what? Reverse logistics, more shrink wrap. Because now you got to palletize all this stuff to ship it back. Just the trash alone was kicking my ass because I had to increase my dumpster pickup to twice a week. I had to increase my dumpster pickup and I had to add more dumpsters. So, and I can continue to go on and on and on and on and on and on and on about the warehousing cost, but they would pay me $85 a stop to drop something off. And when you got two guys on a truck, you got to cover your costs, plus the company's got to make money. There's no margin. There's no room in there for the warehousing cost, all the things that come with running that warehouse. All that, it's just, me personally, no. Lots of expenses with warehousing, and the companies don't pay you. Like all these scenarios that I'm giving you, all that stuff costs. I was you would have thought I was a savage for pallets, man. I'm like, damn, man, if any pallets, man, let me get all the extra pallets. When trucks would come and they would do delivery, they would have extra pallets, man, give me all them pallets. Give them all to me because, man, we need pallets for reverse logistics. Shrink wrap, I had to be mindful of shrink wrap. I had to put a pit bull in there, had to increase the security. Guess what? Now we got more lights in there. Had to increase the camera system. Had to the forklift, racking system, warehouse management software, the damn garbage. Man, all that stuff costs too much money. A lot of expenses, man. So I can go on and go on and on. Emax says, how do you get contracts and work? Depends on what lane. If you're doing final mile, you just apply with a third-party logistics company. That'll get you the contract, and when you get the contract, then the work will come with it. Let me see. Work with connects with more stages. I have contract before I start reaching out. How long to run a warehouse? So I had the warehouse already before we started cross docking. So I had got to the warehouse in 2013. We started cross docking though because it was occupied. So my commercial landlord, he was occupying the warehouse. So when he lost the property, so the property was on 7 acres. It was a warehouse. He was operating it for his general contracting business. Then there was another warehouse in the back lot. And then I had my office in between. So I had bought I had rented a 12x60 mobile office trailer just to run dispatch and operations out of. And then when he lost the property and the bank picked it up, I started renting from the bank, and then I was able to move into the building. And that was end of 2016, somewhere in 2016. So 2016 to about 2018, I did it. So for about 2 years, I cross-docked. And, it was cool. It was a great learning experience, but it was just too costly. I told this story before, but I know I got a lot of subscribers. So when you cross-dock, essentially what had happened was I became the 3PL, so to speak. So Nonstop Delivery is a company where they have a multitude of accounts. They have Websterant, they have Wayfair, just a bunch of different accounts, a lot of different equipment, sports equipment accounts. They deal directly with Nordic Track. We would deliver a lot of Nordic Tracks, recumbersome bikes or encumbersome bikes or recumbent bikes or whatever those bikes are called, those weird bikes that you sit down and you just do like that for the old people. Those would come crated. They would already come assembled on a big crate, in a big crate. So what they would do is they would have accounts where they would get the accounts. The stuff would get middle mile from the manufacturer to a cross dock in a particular market, right? So which worked better for me, and I thought it was a great idea at the time when I got approached with it, because now I'm like, well, man, if we do this, I'm sending trucks 30, 45 minutes, 50 minutes, depending on traffic, from Chicago out to Elk Grove Village to Dynamics or out to Addison or out to Wooddale, to all these logistics companies to pick up our freight, right? To do our deliveries, because here in Chicago, most of the logistics companies, and a lot of you guys that run OTR that come to Chicago, you got to go to Elk Grove Village. So even with me running local, my trucks had to go out to Elk Grove Village. So I'm like, man, that'll cut down a lot of gas. If I can get an account where all this freight is going to come directly to me, then my crew can just leave straight from here and go do the deliveries. I thought it was a great idea, but like me not understanding the costs that were associated with running a warehouse, I also had to learn that now I became the 3PL. I became the final mile, right? And the way they treat you, they don't treat you like an owner operator. They don't treat you like a master contractor. They like, yo, you got a warehouse. You on a different level than the typical person with a box truck. They got 1 or 2 box truck that's going to T-Force or going to Select Express Warehouse or going to Pilot to pick up freight and then going to deliver. You are the warehouse. So you on a different level. So we not going to treat you like we treat them. See, it's something that to get to where you at that they don't know or they can't get to. So you got to wait for your money like we got to wait for our money. So I wasn't getting paid every 2 weeks. They told me that, okay, you got to wait 45 days for the first initial settlement. No problem. I got cash flow. You know what I'm saying? So 45 days come around. I'm thinking I'm going to get a settlement for like the first 2 weeks or something. I think the first settlement we got was less than $1,000. So I'm floating this company off cash flow, right? So I'm calling them until somebody finally broke down to me like, listen, you got paid for the payments for the deliveries that you did that have already been paid to accounts payable. Meaning they went through accounts receivable on there and they received that money. So the stops that we did that they had already been paid for, they paid us. The stops that we did during that time period that they didn't get paid for yet, they didn't pay us for, right? So it wasn't every 2 week settlement based on what we did the prior 2 weeks, and they were paying us up front while they were waiting for their money. It didn't work like that when you cross dock. So it had got to a point where I'm floating it and I'm draining cash flow. Like the time when Veterans Distribution said our warehouse is full, we can't take no more Home Depot pickups. So then they dropped 200 pickups in my portal. We did all the pickups, obviously, right? But during that 2-3 week time period when I was scheduling all those pickups and they was dumping, they dumped 200 on me off bat, and then they keep dumping. They kept dumping them. So now I'm running a truck just doing pickups, and then I'm running another truck just to do the deliveries for that particular account. So that's 30 stops a day on average. But guess what? Those 30 stops a day for those 4 guys, 2 guys on each truck, a week later, I had to pay them for that. I didn't get paid for that. So that money was coming from cash flow from the business. So when I finally said, you know what, enough is enough. We can't handle this after 2 years. I let it go. Because it had got to the point where now my moving company is floating my trucking company, because we've done thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands, 6 figures, damn near 7 figures worth of work for this company. I haven't gotten paid for a lot of it, right? So I had to let it go. So I let it go in March of 2018. When I let it go, mind you, they still owe me a lot of money. I still got a settlement every single week from the time we let it go, first week of March 2018 to the 3rd week of October of 2018. That's how much money they owe me. So we stopped running the end of February, first week of March. I still got a settlement every single week to damn near the end of October. That's how far behind paying me they was. We was getting a settlement every single week still, like we were still running from. So obviously in 2018, I recouped a lot of the money that I wasn't getting from the previous year, 2017, right? As they started getting paid out, I was getting it. And then I was able to get my money back. But I had to let it go because without that money coming in, and I've never factored a day in my life. Final Miles, no need to factor. That was the first account that drained me between a combination of that and just the cost of warehousing and stuff, staffing the warehouse, the warehouse management software subscription, the damn security dogs feeding them, the pit bulls, uh, uh, the forklift, just the propane, the repairs on the forklift, uh, the shrink wrap for all the reverse logistics, just it just the garbage, the dumpster pickups twice, and I think at one point I had to increase it to 3 times a week. It just became too costly, so I I ended up letting it go, and they weren't happy about it, but I wasn't gonna let them break me. So what are the average rates for some of you who run box truck business in Midwest and South? What lane are you talking about, Marlo? So cool. Moving coming. So you say you're dealing with all that cameras getting set up Monday. I just answered him about how I would run my warehouse. All right. I think I answered pretty much everything. Let me just scroll up, make sure. All right. Yeah. All right. So, man, I think this was a good live, educational. I hope a lot of people got some gems to start. Now you got an order of operation. An order of operation on how to start your box truck or your cargo van business. I think if you follow those steps, you will see a great deal of success. I think the reason a lot of people fail is because they skip steps, or they don't know what steps to take. And I gotta listen. I gotta remind myself, and after talking to that guy the other day, and he's a cool guy, and I appreciate him coming on and just being honest. And when he said he didn't know what an LLC was until recently, it was funny when he said it, but then I not everybody is business savvy. Some people just pick up on things just naturally. Some people know how to research things and they educate themselves that way. Some people just don't know. All right. And sometimes I get in the habit of thinking that, the things that I think are just so simple and that just everybody should know this stuff. It's just that just put it in reality to me that not everyone does. So that's what's the purpose of this live stream tonight. And hopefully that now people have an order of operations. You don't skip steps. You don't just go out and buy a truck and, don't understand your market, don't understand, about working capital, don't understand that you should have researched before you bought the truck because maybe your market, what you think and you may want to do, your market may not have that available for you. If you follow these steps, you should see some level of success. Scores and organization for free help. Also, this is awesome information he is giving out, but they can be more specific to your needs. All right. Best advice is don't be the smartest guy in the room. Just have the smartest guys working for you. All right, so boom. Tomorrow is Black Friday, so not Black Friday. Tomorrow is Good Friday, so I'm not going to do a show tomorrow since it's a holiday. Sunday is Easter. Not doing a show on Easter because I will be with the fam. So this will probably be the last show until next week. Damn, bro, that seemed like something you want to leave to the Chinese people that have it on lock in Savannah. What you talking about? Warehousing? Well, they could have it on lock. I'm straight. That shit was a lot of work and a lot of money. It was a great learning experience. Why? Because I can sit up here and talk to y'all about it, right? So I mean, at the at the end of the day, I ended up getting all my money, my profit. I had to wait a year for it. But, more important, here we are 6 years later, I get to sit here and talk to you guys about it. So if someone was interested in it or, looking to go into it, I can sit here and talk about it from an experience, standpoint, and then you can listen to me and determine if this is something you still want to go through with, or just listening to what I'm saying now, what if you do decide to still go, and let's say set up a warehouse and do cross docking, now you know what you're up against. See, I didn't know what I was up against. I thought I'm like, damn, I think I'm saving money and I'm actually spending more money. You see what I'm saying? So it was a good learning experience. I'll never, you know, if I had to do it all over again, I still would do it all over again. So it was a great learning experience. I just wouldn't do it no more. Are there any rental companies that can have the insurance needed, or will I still need to get insurance through an insurance company? You still got to get your own insurance. You still got to get your own insurance. Great teacher, Mark. I appreciate you. Have a peaceful night. Peace, peace, peace. Costas, thank you for joining. Any must-read recommendations for business? Yeah. The one everybody tells you about, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That's a must-read. And the 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. There's other books that I've told people to read in the past. I've actually showed the books, but I think if you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I think you read the 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss, that'll kind of help set you up. Obviously, you know about Rich Dad, Poor Dad, assets and liabilities, and the 4-Hour Work Week is just going to help you, just be mindful of like time management, taking control of your time. So that's what I'm big on now. Like, time is everything. If I can outsource certain things to buy back my time, then that's what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? And that's the place where I'm at now. But, reading the 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss, I believe you got to get to that point, right? You got to get to that point. I don't think if I had to do things all over again, I would still do things the exact same way I did it. I appreciate the grind. I appreciate the struggle. I appreciate being out in the field. Everything that I went through at the beginning in 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, all the way up to now, just the grind and just the process, all that put me in the position that I'm in today. If I wouldn't have went through all that, then I wouldn't have the knowledge right now to even apply the information that I received and consumed from reading the 4-Hour Work Week. If I would have read the 4-Hour Work Week, let's say in 2010, I don't even think it was out in 2010, but let's say if it was out in 2010, I would have read it in 2010. I wouldn't have been in the position to apply a lot of that information. So I think if you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, by Robert Kiyosaki and Tim Ferriss, the 4-Hour Work Week, I think you'll be straight. And then also read Sam Walton, Made in America. Sam Walton, Made in America. Sam Walton's autobiography, the founder of Walmart. That's a great book. That's a great book. All right, because a lot of the stuff that I talk about on the channel, like supply and demand, the beautiful thing about Walmart, and a lot of people don't know, is Walmart sells shelf space. Walmart controls the market. If you want shelf space, you got to pay for it. Why do you think certain companies, when you go to Walmart, are at eye level, and then certain companies are all the way down at the bottom, and then you got certain companies on the end cap? But notice all the companies that are at eye level, they're the big boys. If a person wants Coke, because Coke is a big boy, and you put Coke at the top or you pick Coke at the bottom, a person who's coming in the store looking for Coke, they're going to go find Coke, right? Because Coke is a household name. But still, Coke wants to be eye level. They buy shelf space. That end cap, that's purchased. This is how Walmart can make a lot of money and keep costs down. This is one of the ways that they can keep costs down. And then they can pass that cost along to the consumer, which ties in with the deregulation of trucking of 1980. Think about it. This all ties in. If trucking wasn't deregulated, and a lot of y'all hate when I talk like this, but you got to understand, if trucking was not deregulated and trucking companies own routes, and they were able to determine the cost of delivery based on the route that they controlled and they owned, right? And and those rates raised with the cost of living, the cost of inflation, right? With no competition, a lot of the stuff that you go and buy in these big box stores would be, I don't know how many times much more expensive than they are now. The purpose of deregulation was to increase competition, was to make competition in order to drive down rates, and then those savings get passed along to the consumers, which keeps things affordable, right? And just Walmart is just good at it. They outsource trucking. You see Schneider and JB Hunt and Warner pulling up to their DCs, and they have a fleet of their own trucks as well. He has a great logistics system. Like, their logistics system is great. So you should read Sam Walton also Made in America, and that'll help you kind of understand supply and demand, and the way things are out here in the trucking, and it'll just make you a better person, and just give you a different outlook on what you're in, and you'll be able to compete better out here in the marketplace, and you won't be running around like some of these cats say, oh, the reason the trucking industry is messed up because these people keep taking this cheap freight, and that don't have shit to do with it. It's designed for the freight to be cheap. The more competition, the lower the rates. The savings get passed along to the consumer. So even as a trucker, you benefit from rates being low. As a consumer, it doesn't benefit you as a trucker, but it benefits you as a consumer. So, all right. All right, y'all. I'm out, man. Happy Good Friday. Happy Easter. All right. To all the Christians out there. Happy Good Friday. Happy Easter. All right. May God continue to bless you. Peace.